Okay, well here's Alexander, who is about to have his first meal of fresh out of the coconut water after fasting 21 days.
So, just can't. It's just so good. Thank you, Loren.
Hey, you did all the hard work. Congratulations. So, Alex, how you doing?
You know I'm doing remarkable.
Great. That's
Yeah.
great. You made a decision that is somewhat controversial and unusual to come fast with type 1 diabetes, right?
Yes.
Type 1 diabetes is something a lot of people say you can't fast with type 1 diabetes.
I agree. I've tried many times.
Yep. And yet you just did. You fasted for 21 days.
Mm-hmm.
And how'd it go?
It went really well. One of the reasons I came here was, one, because you accepted me, and two, because, like you said, everybody says it can't be done, and I'm kind of like attracted to the impossible, and I've always wanted to. It went really well, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's just you don't take insulin. I mean, you take insulin, but a very small amount.
Right. Well, in fact,
Yeah.
You need to be monitoring your blood sugar regularly throughout the process.
Yes.
Right? Because what makes it challenging with type 1 diabetes is that it can fluctuate pretty wildly during the process. You know, the issue for people with type 1 diabetes is if you take a lot of insulin, let's say in your normal life, let's say you miscalculate, you take more than you thought you would need, and so your blood sugar goes really, really low. What do?
Eat.
Not an option while you're fasting.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that you're using small amounts of insulin, because you can always bring your blood sugar down while you're fasting, but we can't easily get it up without breaking your fast.
And that's what I did.
And so you were able to make it through the process.
I was very, very conservative. So, like, let's say I take right now I take 0.02, so about a 20th of a unit.
Okay.
Per hour. I reduced that to about 20%, so I was taking whatever that is. I was taking 20% of 20th.
Be a 100th of a unit per hour.
Per hour, just to be safe, to be conservative.
So a quarter of a unit per day.
Yes.
Okay, which is very little.
Very little, yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, you're not eating. Theoretically, you'd need less, but you know, and what a lot of people may not understand is like, what's the big deal? Why not just take whatever amount, you know, even in your normal life? But of course, you're putting something into your body which, see, in a well-functioning body where the pancreas is doing its job and making all the insulin you need in real time, in every single moment, the body's measuring and putting in whatever it needs. But if you're taking insulin, it doesn't work that way. I mean, it kind of works that way in your case because you have something that actually is automatic, right? So,
insulin pump.
So it's an insulin pump. Although the pump's not deciding how much insulin you need, you are. That's the difference. So
you program it.
You program it. So the point is that, you know, my body is deciding how much insulin I need right now, and then putting that in. You've got to decide in advance, and you're never going to be right. I mean, you're going to be right, you know, 1 out of every several thousand times. So most of the time, it's going to be off. Yep. And you want that to be off by as little as possible. The less you need, the less you use, the less margin of error there is. I mean, the safer you are, because you're never going to have way too much if you're only using a little.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now you've been eating again now for
so about
11 days. Okay. So what's happened in the 11 days since?
I have energy.
You're being active.
Yeah.
You're living on fruit. I mean, there's leafy greens available at every meal. We're having salad type things at night if you want. There's always fruit too. But you're eating a fair amount of fruit.
Yes.
And you're eating sweet stuff, and you're eating some fat, and how are you doing in general?
I feel great. Energy-wise, I'm able to function again.
Yeah,
I feel
awesome.
like I'm reborn.
You know, you and I have known each other online now for a while. We've had some conversations via Skype. You seem like a completely different person than the guy that showed up here nearly 6 weeks ago.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, your energy is much higher. It's palpable, and you seem much happier. When you got here, you didn't really seem like you were so positive.
It was jumping right into, yeah. I mean, it was hard.
Sure.
Because I was instantly fatigued. I
Sure.
was just knocked out to the floor.
No doubt. Well, that happens.
Day one.
Yeah.
Boom. Like,
Right.
just so.
Right.
I wasn't expecting that.
How was your experience overall, and what would you advise other people to do?
This was, like, I've told a few people here, and I've tried to, like, script it just because I want to tell more people, but I don't want to do that, so I'm kind of, like, in this flux right now. But the way I would put it is, I think this is the environment for the, and it's weird, because I've actually, like, written a book in a spiral that I want to get published and maybe have you forward someday, but
Okay.
like here, and it's like I've been trying to write a book for like 10 years. It's just that among so many other things that have come to fruition here. But I would say, like, this is the environment for the biggest, most extraordinary, like, spiritual experience that anybody could possibly have.
Awesome. Wow, that's a powerful statement.
In every way, like emotional, physical, mental, and whatever else I'm missing, like,
Yeah.
in every aspect of your life. It's the environment to do it if you're willing to do the work.
Right, and that's the key. I mean, I've been saying this for years. You know, it's one thing to not eat,
Yeah.
but you know, even if you do the physical piece perfectly, resting completely, sipping what you need, not doing anything you don't need to do, if you don't do the emotional work, you're going to wind up in the same place you were before, in most cases. So, yeah,
I didn't know what you meant until I did it.
Yeah. Well, that's the only way to do it. Actually, it's the only
And
way to really understand it.
I've read, 600 books or something like that. I thought I did the work, and I'm like, but wait, but this is the environment to put the work into work.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's not an intellectual process.
I thought it was.
Right. But you actually have to do it. So I salute you, because you've gone through something that's challenging, and in some ways, perhaps more challenging than the average person. Dealing with type 1 diabetes while fasting, where fatigue is typical, means in some ways it might be a more challenging process than it was for many others. Others may have had a more challenging process than you did. I'm not trying to compare. I'm just saying, you've been through something challenging. You made a commitment to yourself, and you hung in there when it was difficult. And I'm willing to bet there were times when you thought, screw this.
Every day.
Yes, it's typical. But in the end, worth it?
Well worth it. I'll be back. And by the way, I think malaise is really, like, I would call malaise a chronic fatigue. I mean, there's probably different terms for it, but
Sure.
like, it's very, very significant for diabetics, I think.
No doubt. Anyway, fantastic job. Congratulations. It's been great having you around, and I'm glad you're going to be here. I'm off. We're closed. We actually closed. We were just completing the fruit festival this morning, and everyone's on the way out. And I'm on the way out too. I've got to go take care of some business. So I'll be back in a week. I'll see you then.
Can't wait.
But
Thanks
awesome job. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your commitment to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, thank you. Love Tanglewood.
Me too.
Try it.